Every generation produces leaders who don't just inherit influence, they redefine it. Iman Al Barwani comes from one of Oman's most respected philanthropic families. But her story isn't about continuation, it's about transformation. She has taken the language of charity and turned it into strategy for empowerment, sustainability, and national progress. Educated abroad, rooted deeply in Omani values, Iman represents a new kind of leadership, one that blends compassion with intellect, heritage with innovation, and emotion with measurable impact. Today, we explore how her journey shaped her philanthropy of giving, what it takes to lead with purpose in a changing world, and what lessons her path offers to the next generation of leaders. Iman Al Barwani, welcome to the Voices of Power.
Thank you for hosting me.
It's a lovely having you here, Iman. It's an opportunity for our audience, particularly students and some decision makers, to learn from your journey. And as we know that you come from a family that is renowned and respected from giving to the society, their contribution to the society. But before I go to your work, I want you to talk to me about how did this all happen? How did you enter in this world of giving, in the world of philanthropy? Maybe take us a little bit to your childhood.
Okay, so ever since I was younger, I've always been interested. It's always been a passion of mine to give back. Since growing up, I was always inspired by, like, my role models were all people, whether it was in Hollywood, for example, Angelina Jolie, or whether it was, for example, the British royal family, Princess Diana. Yeah. I would always be very inspired when I watch videos of them doing visits and the work they do and the messages that they believed in.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is something it's like a seed that has been planted in me from a young age.
This is very interesting. You brought in global figures like the royal family and Princess Diana, and I think this was a very inspiring start for you. But when did you realize that your family works is special? When did you realize that with your family being a very renowned company and having their contribution to the society?
I think even before realizing it's something that the company does or it's something that we're known for, a lot of times when I was younger, I was very close to my mother. So I'd go out with my mother a lot. And my grandmother passed away when I was very young.
Allah yarhamha.
So Allah yarhamha. So whenever we'd go out and people would start speaking to my mom and they'll be like, oh, انتي فلانة بنت فلانة الله يرحمها كانت واجد طيبة واجد ساعدتنا, and they would start tearing up and crying. I was like, wow, يعني why is an adult woman يعني
so touched?
أيوة, like
yeah.
what could she have done to touch her and make these people emotional even after years they passed away.
Wow.
So both my parents, when they were younger, they were they were both born in Zanzibar, and then after the revolution, they were both refugees.
Yeah.
So being refugees, and then before coming back to Oman, it's the stories that they shared and how their families were able to help other families, how other families helped them. That are the stories that inspired me.
It's fascinating. What we know is that you lived also abroad, isn't it?
Yeah, when I graduated from high school in Oman, I lived in Switzerland for 4 years.
Wow, okay. And do you think that you living abroad, did it shape your ideas in the purpose of giving in the community or philanthropy?
When I was there, so even in Oman, before I went to Switzerland, I was always like my activities and my hobbies, or like the activities, after school activities I had in school, always revolved around giving back.
Yeah.
So for example, Hina, I was in the charity club in school. The charity club was every Thursday after school, we would go on a trip somewhere. So I remember we would go to the local orphanages on Thursday after school. We went to the early intervention. The first time I visited the early intervention center was on a high school trip. And until today, I am part of that. We do work with them.
Yeah.
So when I was in Switzerland, the first thing I did is I joined the environmental club where we would go on to like beach. No, we didn't. There wasn't beaches, but there was like a river cleanup or like clean up the forest. يعني أشياء كذا.
So you started there in Switzerland, the
I started
activities.
here. I started even before I left, but it's something that continued. Whenever we travel, we try to find something that we can give back to. So in Switzerland, the area I was in, يعني Switzerland being Switzerland, there
Yes.
wasn't much you could do with like poverty or giving back.
Quite rich.
But like there was like مثلا the beach cleanups, or for example there was Latin club where we would raise money for South Americans, because that was like whenever there was an opportunity you join regardless of what the cause was.
But
يعني.
where did this come from? You know, that love of giving. I know that it's rooted in your DNA, but I think when you came back and you saw that, you know, you have a well-established family business, how did you decide that this is a route that Iman seeing herself? This is what I want to lead.
So يعني I feel like this is something even before I left. Like it's always been within me since we were kids. يعني.
MashaAllah.
So when I went to Switzerland and I came back, I was first put in human resources because they thought like, oh, Iman's good with people. Let's put her, you know, with people. But I really didn't
You're good
enjoy
with
it.
people. What did they mean by that?
I'm a social person. I like talking to people. I like meeting people. I can fit in many settings.
And it's an important skill, I think. Very important.
Yeah, and my parents would always, we'd always hear stories of فلان جاء المكتب اليوم, he needed a specific help, or this woman came. I'd hear stories from my parents speaking or my aunts in the family setting, and I was always like interested to hear. And what did you do? Then what did you say? Then what did she say? So it's always something I've been passionate about. And even since I was younger, even my research papers in high school, they were all around social issues.
Social issue. But then when you came back in, how did this conversation happen with your dad? Dad, I want to lead this?
I think it's I think it's something that my father realized we needed to start and to do. So he was like, I think we should formally establish a family foundation rather than doing the work that we do randomly. We were giving, but we weren't checking. We weren't calculating our return on social investments. We weren't doing background research. It was just like كأنه first come first serve, اللي طلب أول يحصل أول.
Yes.
There was no budget. يعني we were just giving. There was no calculation of where it was going or how it was being used.
Calculated impact.
Yeah, there was no
Yeah.
calculated impact. There was no social return يعني assessment. And we do have stories of times when we've given people based on trust and not based on research, and we did get in trouble.
Yeah, trouble like?
For example, one time there was a man that came to my mother's office, our old office in Wataya, and he came with her with medical records. And he was like, my daughter, she had a really bad burn. She needs to go abroad for treatment. Please help us. And my mom was like, أنا يعني دمعت رجل كبير يبكي قدامي. And so she wrote him a personal check. A few weeks later, the police showed up at her office and they wanted to speak to her. So she was like, تفضلوا, and they were like, what's your relationship with فلان? She's like, I don't know who this is. They're like, no, you know him. She's like, no, I don't know him. I don't know who you're talking about. Then they showed her a picture. She's like, yes, this man. I gave him a personal check because he needed...
His daughter.
Yeah, he needed help. And then they were like, yeah, this person is with the police, and thank God he didn't cash your check, and he has a very bad criminal record.
Whoa, my God.
And
that was a shock for your mom.
Yeah, my mom was like, I believed him. رجال كبير يبكي يعني.
Yeah, that must be shocking. I mean, someone gives with kind-hearted, and then they discover that.
Yeah, she was moved with emotions. And there's also another story where, like, another story. Like a lady came and she was like, I need help to go abroad for treatment. And then my mother was like, listen, I cannot, it's a big amount. This is my contribution. So my mother bumped into her a few months later and she asked her, how is your family member? Were they able to get treated? She's like, no, the money wasn't enough. So look, I bought these gold bangles. So
Wow.
sometimes things aren't being used in the way that you intend them
Yeah,
to
and
be
this is where
used.
the idea of the foundation, I think, came in. Right?
Yeah, and
This
it
is
was-
what you meant by uncalculated measures. You did not calculate.
Yeah, you don't calculate, and sometimes you need to check. You need to check, is the money being used in the right way,
direction.
in the right
Yeah.
direction.
You have spoken in some different, even in the event, you've spoken about a new mindset in giving.
Yeah.
You've spoken about that quite a lot. What do you mean by that? When you say a new mindset of giving, what does it mean?
Okay, so the traditional idea of giving is charity,
Yeah.
which is like, for example, Dar al-Ata, Jam'iyyat al-Rahma, which in every society we need to have associations like those where people go in and then they help them with buying monthly ration and building a house and things like that. So with us, what we try to do in the Family Foundation is that we are not a charity, we are a foundation. So we try to, we don't want to do these things where مثلا you give a person a meal or you give a person a monthly salary, because I feel like that's something anyone can do. You don't need MB Foundation to do something like that.
I'm sorry, Iman, to interrupt you, but just for our audience sake, what do you mean? What is the difference for you between a foundation and a charity?
Okay, so I'm getting there.
Yeah.
So the charity would like help them with today's needs. We try to go a few steps ahead,
Okay.
where we, for example, I feel like it goes with the Chinese saying, and instead of giving a man a fish, is you teach him how to fish.
The fish. Okay.
So we try to end that cycle of, because if you give him a meal today, he's gonna need a meal again in a few weeks. So we try to do something to end that. So we teach them how to fish. So for example, what we do with the law are, what we do with, like for example, education. My family is a huge believer in education. My father says like, I am nothing without my education. Education is my weapon. It's my key to success. Education is something that breaks that cycle.
So you try to provide
A skill. We try to
yeah,
provide a skill, a knowledge, something that
keep them going.
keep them going, so that
Yeah.
instead of looking like they can make their own income.
What was an early challenge that tested your confidence as a leader? Any of the challenges you faced during your work in philanthropy? I think you talked a lot about the mindset.
Yeah.
The mindset of whom? The community? Is it?
Everybody. I think the community, definitely.
Yeah.
Like the people, as well as, one of the challenges I could say is مثلا registering formally as a foundation. It took so many years. It was a lot of bureaucracy. The minister had to change for us to get, accepted. And then another thing is, I didn't want to talk about this, but sometimes you want to do initiatives, like we had like this huge drug campaign. Nobody wants to take the responsibility for it.
And I think it's a social mindset. Is it the community that do not want to be part of this campaign? Is it they're scared?
No, I think it's they're aware, like it's a taboo subject, and then it's what we wanted to do is awareness عشان الوقاية خير من العلاج, but they were like, no, we do not tackle these issues until we know somebody's in it. But that's too late then.
Yeah. How did you decide, or how do you decide the causes of the projects that you involve in? Is it data? Is it community needs?
Yeah.
How do you decide that this is a project that we should be jumping into, holding into?
Okay, so we do have, I do feel like community needs is something very important, because there's no point in doing something that people don't need.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have criteria and we have a strategy that we work on. So, for example, we, being in oil and gas, giving back to the environment is very important to us.
Yeah.
Education, like I said, because it's something that's so important to my father and my family. And
Is it the highest in priority at the moment? Projects related to education?
yeah,
Your
for
fund.
me, I definitely think a lot of our budget goes towards education and training. Like, because we realized now that in the past we would do education for scholarships for people from low income families.
Yeah.
But then we realized there's a lot of training opportunities and training institutes that have training programs that last for 6 months or 9 months, which is a shorter period of time, which is specific to the job, which makes people, which is more desirable for, and as well as more cost efficient.
Yes, and for a
know.
person to immediately jump into working, isn't
Yeah.
it? And helping the family.
Yeah, like not everybody could take 4 years off to, like some people need to like work as well as seek an education
Yeah, and this is,
to
I think,
improve their families.
exactly. They need to help their family. And, we've been speaking a lot about sustainability, Iman, and I think it's an important subject and close to your heart. What does it mean for you, sustainability?
So sustainability is a project that once you invest in it can go on for a couple of years without needing to consistently like pump money back. It can cover itself. It can take care of itself. For example, like I mentioned earlier, the Early Intervention Center is somewhere which is close to my heart.
Yeah.
So with the Early Intervention Center, previously we used to pay students' fees, whatever amount it would cost per year. But then you pay it this year, you need to pay it again next year, you need to pay it again the year after. Yeah. So we sat down with the Early Intervention Center and we said, what is something that instead of, we could pump this money into the institute instead of like doing it on a yearly basis. So she told us that they needed equipment for a workshop because a lot of the children at the Early Intervention Center, based on their needs, need special equipment that they order from abroad. So they need to order it from abroad. They need to ship it back to Oman. These equipments are based on the size, age, and disability of the child. So she said, and we could actually do this in-house if we had the machinery. So what we did at MB Foundation is they moved to a new building. They dedicated a space to us, and we provided them with the machinery to make these products in-house.
What kind of product, if I may ask?
For example, based on the child's disability, they need مثلا an arm sling or like a wheelchair, but the wheelchair is customized, not any wheelchair, customized based on their disability. For example, a wheelchair that turns into like a standing tool to help the child stand up. They have these special chairs they use.
Quite the technology. Yeah.
Yeah, it's based on the individual's needs.
Yeah.
So what they were doing in the past is that they were taking the kids' measurements and pictures, and then they would send it to. Some products were from Turkey, some products were from the Netherlands, and then they get sent to Oman. So sending it's time-consuming as well as not very cost-effective.
Did you require to work with partners in different countries to create that? The foundation?
Honestly, the Early Intervention Center, the head of the center said, we can do this in-house, we know the skill sets, we know the disabilities of the kids, we just need funding for the machinery.
Yes.
It's most of the stuff, like I said, is like a special table based on the child's size and disability, special chairs. So we provided them with the machinery, and they do it in-house now for their students. And they don't just do it for their students, they also have outpatients where they come in, they get it made for them, and they pay.
Yeah.
So this is a sustainable project because they're making an income from the
foundation to help the children.
Yeah. And also, she told me the other day, she's like, Iman, actually, you gave it to us for this purpose, but now we're even teaching the kids themselves on how to work with this machinery. So it's also going into like their therapy for the older kids.
And this is what you meant, we don't give them the fish, we teach them how to fish.
So for example, social return on that investment, if you calculate it, goes way beyond what we expected in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now they even make some of their furniture from that workshop. She sent us pictures the other day. She's like, look at these cupboards and storage, and we made these from the machinery that you gave to us.
Fantastic. I mean, that's quite the contribution. Wow. Iman, I'm sure with all the work that the foundation is doing, you will require to partner with government, private sectors, and so on. Can you talk to us about the importance of partnerships?
Yeah.
Indeed, when it comes to philanthropy and charity work.
Okay, so there's this thing I say is we always try to work smarter, not harder. So, for example, the government and other organizations, they've already done a lot of the work. They have the data, they have the information. They're the ones who face the community, so they know what the people's needs are.
Yeah.
Everything we do, you need to have government-private partnership. I feel like you can't succeed without these
them.
partnership because you would be working harder and not smarter. With everything we do, honestly, the government has licenses. They give you licenses. They have the connections. They can open doors everywhere. We are able to move faster.
Yeah.
And we are able to get the funding faster. But
Easier.
without the partnership, there isn't any. You can't do anything working on your own.
And do you think that as a country, we are moving in the faster pace at the moment? And if there are anything you think we should be improving on in that kind of sector, the giving one?
So I think we are, as a country, we are moving towards the right direction. However, we still do have policies that are slightly conservative. So I feel like if we were able to move faster and be able to take decisions faster, it would be better. But I do understand why they're conservative. It's because they want to protect everybody and make sure that funding is being used in the right areas.
It's a difficult situation to be in, ensuring that welfare is distributed and is given and allowing foundations to give. But at the same time, you want to also protect everyone. Ensure that everyone's
another
correct.
issue I feel like we have as a country is a lot of things are being duplicated. Like for example, one organization would build a children's library, then another organization would do a children's library at the same time without probably knowing that they're both doing the same thing. So I feel like we need to collaborate more,
unify the efforts,
and that way more things would be able to be executed.
Yeah, I think, well, you're absolutely right. I think maybe the government could centralize the efforts and the needs in a way everyone could build something and contribute to the general goodness. Yeah. Is there any initiative that you are so proud of, Iman, through your work?
Okay, I'm honestly really proud of the Early Intervention Center, going back to them. It's a small project, but it's definitely a project where the funding wasn't that much, but the impact is still going on till today, and it keeps being used into different things which we didn't expect. Another project I'm really proud of is the inmates jail project at Samayal Jail. It's the pottery workshop. We worked with them. This project was a project that, it was inspired by, we were in South Africa airport, and you always, when you have local change, you want to buy anything in the airport to get rid of your cash. So we went, and there was this little teddy bear we bought. And my father bought it when he came back from a trip. He was like, look at this, it's really nice. It has a message. It says, by buying this product, you are supporting a whole family. Wow. Because these teddy bears were made by women, incarcerated women. So I really like the idea. We took us months and months and months to get an appointment with somebody who would be able to help us, because we were like, why don't we do this in Oman? We can do this. We have really nice handicrafts. We have beautiful items that tourists would like to buy.
Yeah.
So when we finally did get an appointment with the jail, they استقبلونا, they took us on a tour, they showed us the different things they have, the different workshops they have, and then they sat me down and they were like, listen, to be honest, the number of local Omani women in jail ينعد بالأصابع. So I would rather this investment not be specifically for women. Why don't we open it for the men? Because there is a larger number of men. And we when we did a tour of the different trainings they had, they had a beautiful art workshop with beautiful artwork. They had a beautiful like workshop where they do like مناديس العمانية, like the old way with like the metal and the copper. And then they were like, what we feel is missing is a pottery workshop. And this is the space, and we would like the equipment as well as somebody to train the inmates. So I was disappointed at first. I was like, oh, I really wanted, something to be for the women. And I didn't want pottery. Like I had an idea of something cute that could be at the airport.
But it's good that there are not so many women in here.
Yeah.
That's one part.
Yeah.
One good news.
Yeah.
Now, how did, I know that measuring impact is not easy, particularly in philanthropy. How do you measure impact? How do you know that this initiative worked in the way you wanted it to work?
So for the pottery workshop, this is something we did 8 years ago. And recently, in September, we got awarded for this project on a GCC level. Because this workshop won, like they create pottery from it. Yeah. So pottery is ceramics. It could be teacups. It could be anything.
Anything, yeah.
Yeah. So the inmates actually started يبدعوا وينبه they started like يبدعوا فيه, and they even get orders from coffee shops outside. Yeah. So coffee shops, when they open, they try to, have a specific tea set or teapot that's specific for their cafe. So they take the orders from the inmates, and then 50% of the money they get goes to the inmate's family, and 50% goes back to the pottery workshop for supply of material. Yeah. So now the inmate is able to make an income for his family while they're in jail, as well as possibly learn a new skill.
Nice. I mean, that shows that life doesn't stop, and you could create livelihood for those inmates. Iman, sometimes generosity is misused or misunderstood. How do you balance compassion with accountability in your foundation? Because you did mention a very interesting story about your mother. She's very compassionate, but fortunately it was misused.
Yeah.
How do you balance that?
So I think what we do to try to protect ourselves from that is, like I mentioned, when we formally establish the foundation, there is background checks. So I think when you do background checks, you dig deeper into the issue. You don't just give willingly. Like you have to put your emotions aside and bring your mind on board. Many young people, they want to make impact. They want to create impact nowadays. What's your advice for them? I feel like anybody could start. You just need to start. Giving back doesn't have to be financial giving back. Giving back could be with, for example, if somebody has photography skills, they could help partner up with an organization to take pictures and spread awareness. Giving back could be with advice. Giving back could be with moral support. Yeah. Little things create big impact. Yeah. Yeah. Iman, do you have any advice for our students? Right now, they are going through their studies, and we're trying to shape them to become the leaders of tomorrow. Any advice for them? I feel like whatever they do or whatever they choose to do needs to be something that they're passionate about and they love and they're good at. So like I was saying, when I first started my career, I was in human resources, but I didn't love it. I didn't enjoy it. I wasn't passionate about it. Honestly, I couldn't care less about the payroll.
Yeah.
But I had to do it, and I didn't enjoy it. Then I was able to do something that I really love and care about. That's some days when I have really long working days, I really don't feel like I even worked it because I'm doing something that I am passionate about and I feel for.
Excellent. Iman, thank you very much for being with us, and we loved the conversation that we had and for giving us a spotlight on your journey. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Some stories stay with us not because of their scale, but because of their heart. Iman Al Barwani's journey reminds us that true leadership begins in small acts, the decision to listen, to help, to care. Over time, those choices become a legacy. She shows us that philanthropy isn't about wealth, it's about awareness. It's about seeing a need and choosing to respond. And for every student, every young leader listening today, her story is proof that kindness can be a strategy and that purpose can be built just like a business with patience, courage, and love for one's community. Iman Al Barwani, thank you very much for sharing your story with us, your wisdom, your warmth with us on Voices of Power. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.